everyone, this is Paul of Emerald Enclosures here, bringing you a propagation video for bromeliads. It's something I never did myself until today, but I looked up a couple of videos and I figured out the best way of going about it. Now, propagating is going to be based on the cloning process of which a bromeliad uses to create offspring, which is basically shoots, or pups. That's what they're called in the horticultural world. These pups are offshoot from the bottom of the bromeliad and only occur when the bromeliad has bloomed. This bromeliad has definitely done that. It really wasn't in the best shape, and I got it for a ridiculous discount at work. I only paid $1. But what this bromeliad does have, despite the fact that it's not in the best of shape, is it has 3 pups. Typically, this bromeliad would have gone for about $20 at my store. I don't know if that's typical for other stores that deal with plants, but this is pretty good. Especially with the fact that it grew 3 pups, and by cutting these off, I'm giving the plant a chance to grow more in the future. Now, to do this, you have to start by pulling the bromeliad out from its potting soil. And what you're going to do is cut it as close as you can to the bottom on an angle. You try and hopefully bring a little bit of the root with it from the mother plant, but honestly it's not that big of a deal if you don't. What I consider these to be important whenever I'm doing this kind of work is hydrogen peroxide. I'm very big on antiseptic. It helps the mother plant and to continue thriving and create more pups, and it also helps the new plant have a chance at growing healthily. And while I'm at it, I figured I'd show you how I set up my organic potting soil jars. What I do, just to make sure I keep as much of the soil in as I possibly can, is cut out a little bit of window screen and stuff it inside the pot. That's just something that I do. I don't want it leaking out, getting all over the place. After that, take coconut coir mixed with gravel and leaves, sphagnum moss. I fill this up about halfway, which is about 2 inches worth. Thing I like about this is that it has pretty good drainage. It's potentially bioactive. I would call this inert substrate. From the leaves will break down. With the help of the microbes I'm about to add, whoops. Worm compost. Big heaping pile of worm compost. Or worm poop. What I do is I add 1 inch worth to all my potting mixes. Just put that right down there. It has numerous benefits that typical compost wouldn't, as in sense that none of it is synthetic. This is what plants use in nature to grow, along with the droppings of mites and springtails and isopods. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, it's all natural. And before I started using this, I had issues in all sorts of ways on trying to propagate plants, or grow plants in general. But once one of the pharmacists I work with, Michelle, told me about this, I knew I had to get started, and I got myself a worm composter. And I've never regretted that, not one little bit. So put 1 inch of that. And then sanitize the razor blade just to give the pup its best chance of surviving and give the mother a chance to live longer and create more pups. Although this plant was on the downward spiral already, so I'm not 100% convinced that I'm going to get anything else from it. When choosing when to cut these away, always wait for the plant pup, to be at least 1/3 in the height of the mother, and cut it out a downward angle. Try to get some roots with it as well. As I said, the pup is made to be separated, so even if it is, you just got to give it a little bit of time and it'll develop more roots. Just doing this very carefully. But it should come off pretty easily. It's already come off. I'm just trying to cut down as far as I can to release more roots. The mother won't mind, I'm sure. Oh well. As I said, it's not that big of a deal if it doesn't come with any roots. I cut it out in an angle so I can give it the best chance of growing some. But this is what it looks like. Bromeliad pup. It's kind of cute, actually. Now what I do, don't bury it more than 1 inch, and I put the end underneath the worm compost. Give it its best chance of surviving. Although I'm still really not worried about it too much to begin with. After that, I fill it back up to the top with more coconut coir, leaf, granulated gravel, and sphagnum moss mix. Just like that. As I said, this is what I use for almost all my plant potting mixes. I don't use a bit of synthetic fertilizer. I don't trust it. It leaches salts and it kills plants over time, which is what happened with my first terrarium. Whenever I put anything in it, it just slowly started to die. But that's how you do it. After that, water it down really well. Water it from the top. I like to keep the little pouch on the top full of water. I'll typically water it until I start seeing dripping on the bottom. And then I'll just stick it inside or over one of my other plants. That way no water gets wasted. That should be good enough. Give it its best chance at growing. And alright, I'm just going to go put this inside my container so that it can drain properly. But that's basically it, guys. I have one more of these to cut off, but I won't bore you with the same thing twice. My next video is going to be on aquarium acclimation and the proper way to do it. and I'll be showcasing a couple of the piece of hardware that I used to get about so that you can go and make your own. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll be making more content soon. You guys have a great day. Bye.